Welcome back. Today we're going to be finishing off our project of doing our simple Swift game using Swift UI and SpriteKit, and we're going to look at what we need to do to add sounds to it. So again, we've got our simple little game right here. You can see the struct drop game view, which is our basic view we're working with for the entire project, and as you can see, there's no changes made to this at all. When we're working with adding sounds, it doesn't take a lot of work to do this. I'm going to go ahead and go to my resources folder. I added a folder in there, or a group called sounds, and inside that sounds folder I dropped in a couple different files so we can reference them. As you can see right here, I've got drop bass wave and torchwood update.wave and then go.mp3. And so I'm using a couple wave files for short event sounds and an MP3 for a longer background sound. And that's what we're going to be working with to actually make that happen. Again, everything we're doing inside the actual game itself happens inside the scene we're working with. So I'm going to go to my scenes folder, and we have our game scene.swift where everything we're doing with this has been happening. So I'm going to go to game scene, and over here inside my lovely did move method, which is where all the startup happens. Again, when we're talking about SpriteKit, that's where it all starts with this. You can see I've got a background music scene right here. So I'm saying let background music equal SK audio node. And audio nodes are specifically the node used inside SK scene or SK sprite scenes. The SK audio nodes are the type of node or SK node or everything we're working with inside a scene itself that handles long form music. These are the ones that we will actually be playing, and by default they auto repeat. So my background sound will automatically go for this. And so my file named Go, it automatically handles the extension on that for go.mp3 because it's looking for that file with inside that. And so it plays that techno sound. I'm playing with that. Again, when you're building your actual application, make sure you're using songs you have appropriate licenses to use, especially if you want to release this. I just picked an MP3 from one of my library collection because I've got music that I'm using with right here. But when you're doing your actual game itself, look at resources you have for using free music or Creative Commons based libraries, because you want to make sure you're supporting the artists who are creating this and making sure you're doing that properly. And you also want your app to stay available for you. I'm not referencing any specific sites on this because, again, when we're talking with classes, depending on what your schools or districts software that blocks information, it can make things hard to get. So I'm not using any specific references. But again, we're working with an MP3 on this to have that. I'm adding that child to my thing, and that automatically sets that child node to play over and over and over again. And so I don't have to do anything with that just to get the sound. So if I go ahead and run the app right now, so I'll just get Command R to run, builds my successfully sound right here. And you can hear right there the sound is coming up and it's playing the entire time. And even though I'm not doing anything in the game, it's automatically playing. And so that sound will keep on going the entire way through the game. And so whatever I do right here, no matter what happens, I have that. Now the next thing we have is we added a feature so that we have an explosion sound. And so what I'm using right there, move this off to the side, we'll keep that playing just a bit for right now, is when I have a collision between this, I'm going to go ahead and have the annihilate and have the explosion effect. And we already had that explosion effect with the sprites, but I also added right here an effect sound. And in effect sound, I'm using SK action. And again, SK action is what we use to make a certain thing happen at a certain point. And so I have SK action.play sound file name. Oh, I'm going to just play a certain sound. And it's a drop bass and wait for completion false. So I'm just going to have it play right then. Boom, just like that. And then I tell that effect to run. So I just tell the SK action to simply run as soon as it happens. So if I have an explosion effect that happens as I call with an annihilation, so if I have two colors match, it automatically plays that drop bass quote. So it's really pretty cool. So let's go ahead and stop this, and we'll see that effect happen again differently. We use the other one. We use the torchwood update instead of drop bass. So you can see the different effect with that. And so we'll just test that out right here. And so again, we'll see that same effect happen. This time we'll change it to torchwood update. So we can see again how it affects that it plays that sound that's specified right then at the impact and then continues on. So save, rerun. And again, automatically starts the background music. Automatically, it'll play this the entire way through. Make sure you pick a song that matches what you're doing in your game, of course, too. So we've got our dropping the effects. We've got that right there. We've got a blue, blue, green, blue, brown. Everything changes. And so, as Captain Jack Harkness tells us we need to arm the human race against the future, we were able to demonstrate that and repeat it right there. And so again, as soon as that effect happens, it runs that sound and it doesn't wait for completion, it just keeps on going as we go through that. So adding sound to a thing is really pretty easy. Again, if I'm using a short sound, I use the SK action and I tell that action to run, and it just uses the same effect where I say the file named and I tell it to wait for completion. And I'm going to say false every single time on those short sound effects because I don't want to wait for it to complete, I just want it to play and move on. And I tell that effect to run, and we still have my explosion effect that's going on right there. When I'm working with a bigger sound, something that's actually the background, again, I add that in the did move, and I get to use a simple let on that, and that's using the SK audio node, the more complex one, to have a bigger bit of sound, and that goes SK audio node right here, and I pass it the same file name. Again, I don't have to worry about the extension, and I can use that right there. And again, a word of reminder, make sure you pick sounds that match your game, and also pick sounds that work well together, so you can actually hear them happening around that. And so my sound right there was not the best, I just used the files I had available for me right now, but have a great time with that. Make your app, make it do even more cool things. Thanks again and have a great day. Cheers.